is the new grade? We talk, obviously we know what it is in terms of the ISO, but is it a new substrate? Are we talking new coatings, both maybe?
Well, it's everything. So we've got a brand new substrate and a brand new coating technology as well. So we call it Inveo, which we saw in the 43,000 series, but this is the second generation. So we have much better alignment of the crystals in the coating and also in the substrates. We've taken it into both. And then we have a post-treatment to the surface of the insert. So it's a post-treatment of the coating. And that creates these compressive stresses, which means that the coating stays on the insert, stops the cracks propagating into the substrate, which means that's what's giving you that reliability and predictable performance.
We don't make milling machines, milling tools or milling software. We just make them all mill better. Here's how. Unlike other machining operations where the cutting edge never leaves the workpiece, milling has hundreds of individual tooth impacts per second, generating forces that cause deflection and vibrations. Like this 75-pound anvil, every tool is flexible and vibrates at its own unique frequency. Why is this important? The tool point deflects and rebounds at a frequency determined by the flexibility of the tool holder and spindle. You also have a tool impact frequency determined by the number of teeth and spindle speed. You have to get the timing of these two frequencies just right. If you do, each tooth is cutting equally, so tool life, productivity and quality are maximised.
To be honest with you, when we first looked at the machine, it was well over a year ago. We ordered the machine literally without a second viewing. We had some work that was going through, turning, 2-3 operations, then onto the mills. So we had an awful lot of work in progress going through the shop. So the intention was to consolidate and to get all of the work coming off complete in one hit.
And you can do that with this machine because you've got two really beefy spindles, you've got a very powerful milling head as well with a B-axis, haven't you? A very versatile machine.
I mean, the actual machine itself is huge. When it first came in, we were all gobsmacked how big it was when you look at it on paper. But the versatility with the machine, the milling heads, it is a milling machine really. So where we gain on some of the other operations is the torque, the power on the milling.
Now what really stands out for me, and this machine would be perfect for me because it's quite low. It's quite low, it's very low to the ground. Can you tell our audience why this is and what kind of applications this machine tool lends itself to?
I think it's low to the ground because access is important. You know, getting parts in, okay, you will be able to move, let's say, the Y-axis back and crane components in because the access through the top of the machine. But what about when you want to get onto the table? You want to get and check parts. You know, I know we use a lot of inspection through the machine, you know, with probing and so forth, but there are times you want to get onto the machine, set the job. Large parts that maybe are, you know, awkward and you need to clamp in different areas, then getting into the machine is important. So that's a big point, the double door access as well to get into the machine.
Our milling range very, very well.
So by trade, Steve, you're a CNC machinist, so what's your opinion of the tools?
They're a fantastic tool. As you've seen, we've just demoed the 45-degree approach face mill. It'll stand up to the best of tools really. It's a positive, nice positive insert with double-sided, 8-edged. Yeah, and it's as good as any out there on the market.
We're machining EN24 today, so obviously we've got the grade for that, but how about other materials, maybe stainlesses, aluminiums and tricky materials?
Yeah, at the moment our range and chip breakers and coatings cover steels, stainless steels, cast irons and aluminiums. We've got a nice selective range actually, Joe. We've got 7 different grades and 7 different geometries covering all stainless steels, cast irons and some difficult to machine materials as well.
In today's Technical Corner, I'm joined by Andy of Walter Tools, and we're going to be talking about some of their new innovations, in particular Tiger Tech Gold. Tell us some more.
You're looking at a nice Jaguar D-Type into a nice Porsche 911, and I'm sitting on a 1980s Formula One car. We're here at CNC Motorsport near Cheltenham. They've just invested in a Herco machine, so I wonder what it is that they're making.
Sean, Oracle Precision. Before we talk about this machine that we've got behind us here, which is the MX330, tell us what you make.
In very simple terms, from what I understand, I can massively increase my removal rates, reduce cycle times, improve surface finish, little things like, well, not little things, some of the things.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, they're quite monumental in the industry. I mean, chatter, vibrations, resonance, whatever you want to call it. I suppose just for some continuity, we call it chatter for today.
Yeah.
But it's been around for generations. What we've done with this Millmax is actually refined through scientific approach. A gentleman called Tony Schmidt, who actually wrote a book on vibration. He developed the software through Oak Ridge National Laboratory in the US.
And this gentleman is a professor, isn't he? I understand.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, he's very elite within the industry. He's been working on these scientific practices for a number of years. As I say, wrote the book on vibrations, and he's been able to work and find the scientific approach with the multiple algorithms of the problems that you've got in machining characteristics, and actually quantify it within some software to give some really simple information out that some technical engineers can really...
I'd say it's not simple information, but that all this information you're combining with the algorithms, with the software, is making it very easy for engineers to understand and optimise their machining processes, be it increased metal removal rates, reduced cycle times, etc.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, trying to get the optimum metal removal and trying to get the efficiency out of your capital equipment is a minefield. You can sometimes, hey, what do we do with the engineers? We have a look at a book data, we have a minimum maximum surface speed, and we tend to go for the middle, because then we can either reduce it or we can increase the surface speed and try and optimize it. When we get to that middle range and we hear chatter, our first instance is to probably reduce the spindle speed down to slow the resonance or the chatter, to try and stabilise the environment. Little do people know that there is actually other stabilities within the framework of that machine or the characteristics of that machine. What engineers do in the marketplace is they can sometimes stumble across that. Sometimes it's luck, sometimes it's knowledge and expertise. But what they also do is they refine and then finite adjustments over days, weeks, months.
Are you ready for our MTD magazine, the May issue? Because you'll be getting your copy in the post any day now. As always, another bumper issue with 84 pages packed with unique and insightful content. So what's May's issue all about? Well, our medical sector report discusses the rapidly evolving sector, especially in light of the COVID pandemic. As an industry that is double the size of the UK civil aerospace sector, any changes here can have a big impact on UK manufacturing. We also have an interview with Professor Keith Ridgway, OBE and CBE, and founder of the AMRC Sheffield and Executive Chair of the AFRC in Strathclyde. He discusses the UK industrial strategy and why the UK is falling down on levelling up. The technology focus in this issue is all about measurement, and we kick this section off with Dr. Christian Young, highlighting the impact metrology can have on sustainability. And we also have an MTD exclusive competition where you can win a set of mountain bike pedals courtesy of Mitutoyo and Pembrey. I know Mark Deadman might like that one too. In the software section, we'll be looking back at the recent MTD live event at CG Tech, where I discussed Vericut Force and its applications at the SECO Technical Centre. Continuing with the medical theme, we have another exclusive from Younes Chahid. Now, he's been named as one of IMECI's 35 rising stars to watch under 35. And he talks us through how additive is revolutionising hip joint designs and manufacture. Really interesting. In the machining section, we interview JWA Tooling, a company that has invested heavily in new machine tools, even through the pandemic. And we discuss why they bought Mazak Machining Centres and how it was an MTD video that prompted them to buy their first Mazak 5-axis machine. We also take a look at ForgeAw and how this company has launched a £179 plug-and-play system to plug into your machine tool and give you access to never been seen before data and insights. And of course, we'll have all the latest from the world of cutting tools, our What's New section, and so much more. And don't forget my favourite section, the Spot the Difference, as well. You won't forget. Right, please don't forget to click on the QR codes inside with your mobile phone camera and watch the associated MTD video. And don't forget that you can listen to features in our magazine. Just search for MTD Audiobook in your favourite podcast platform. A massive thank you, as always, to our advertisers for all of your support. Enjoy the issue.